Okay, got some footage from Remix Cup. The line is Sableye with Return, Mantine with Bubble Beam, Ice Beam, and Bubble, and then Bastiodon with standard movesets. So I like this team is because there's not a lot of electrics. Some of the best electrics are banned, such as Lone Raichu and Galvantula, and just electrics in general aren't used super heavily outside of those two, outside of really Galvantula. So this makes Mantine a very solid safe swap. I didn't expect too much grass, although there's been a few grass in the back. I just thought that with all the steel and stuff, there wouldn't be too much grass, but there's been a decent amount. That does make the safe swap a little bit harder to use. But overall, I like it a lot as a safe swap. If you didn't know this, Mantine hard beats Registeel going straight Bullet Beam. You resist all of Registeel's charge moves, and you just keep debuffing. You can shield the first one, just debuff away. Obviously, they'll probably eventually swap out, but if you could time it right, you could debuff the next thing and this, change your counter swap as well. So that's pretty much the main thing here. It's hard to say it's an ABB team per se, because they all have kind of unique roles. Mantine is not that great against Charmers, but you could really debuff it a lot in some situations. As you can see right here, what I'm doing with my Bastiodon is absorbing all this energy this Jelson has, because Jelson's so low that even if they have a strong check to Sableye, the Jelson's not going to be a problem, right? Because I could just take it out anyway. And so here you go. Here's the strong check to Sableye. No big deal, because I still have the Bastiodon. Jelson's not going to be a threat anyway, right? And they actually shield that foul play, which I don't know. It probably wasn't worth the shield, but to be honest, they're not really going to outpace me here anyway. And then here, I could just straight smack down all the way down and then take out the Jelson with the Stone Edge. Obviously, that was a favorable lead. We'll see some unfavorable leads as well, and see how to play out those. The thing with Sableye is it also beats Registeel if you have shields up, which makes you have two very strong Registeel counters. Sableye and Mantine both check fighters too. So that's pretty solid too. All right, so as you can see right here, my opponent actually had a Shadow Ninetales. So I'm going to come in with the Mantine, and almost every Shadow Victory Bell will shield. Now I could pull 2 shields or flip switch, which is either way is going to give me a huge advantage. And they end up double shielding. I go and debuff it again with a Bubble Beam again. Now I could just finish it off with Bastiodon and then have a Stone Edge ready for the Ninetales. The Ninetales doesn't want to come into this. And my guess is they probably have another grass in the back, if I were to guess. But yeah, so and they come with the Ninetales. That's fine too. I'm close to Stone Edge, so I'm going to shield this in case it's like an overheat or something. And it ends up being an overheat, which is just absolutely wild, because I would have done a ton of damage. And then I think they realized the match is over, so they're going to concede. Going against my buddy Arrow. So this is kind of a tough one. Superior, man. Superior is pretty strong against the line, especially in the lead. And I kind of made a misplay there. I should have thrown the foul play right away. Instead, I was trying to pretend to get to a return, and I get debuffed. So that's kind of unfortunate, because if I didn't get debuffed there, I could potentially... Actually, I don't know if I would have got the foul play anyway. It's just unfortunate I got debuffed. Because if I didn't get debuffed, I probably would be able to force a shield here. I should be able to force a shield here. Unless there's some like bull coin I'm not aware of. But instead, he has even shields, which is not great. I play this match out with someone else later tonight as well, which is why I know that you could usually grab a shield there. Yeah, and then he comes in with Registeel. The fact that he's not switching out is kind of interesting. I do decide to shield this first one. Maybe I shouldn't have, just because this looks like they need to chip me down before they swap in their counter. I should have also farmed more there. That's probably a bad call not to farm more there, because now he swaps in his Mew, and then now this is going to be a slight problem. I'm going to shield this because usually you don't throw right away unless you have something to check it with. So he has Ice Beam, which means that he probably is running Surf on top of that. And I'm going to swap to Bastiodon and just like try to absorb all this damage. Obviously, this is going to be super effective. Maybe I could have thrown a move first, actually. That might have been better. Yeah, looking back on it, I should have thrown the Ice Beam at least, and then came in with Bastiodon. But here comes the Registeel. Yeah, so now the Mew's going to be a slight issue there. If I was able to draw that shield from Mew, that would be pretty good, because then he'd be down to 1 shield right now, which is a lot better of a spot to be in. Oh, sorry, my cat's biting some wires. Hey, cranberry. Anyway, so as you can see, I was able to survive that Flash Cannon and draw that other shield, and I'm coming with the Bubble Beams that are debuffing. But the issue is I need to actually save some energy after this for the Mew. Yeah, and so here comes the Mew. This is where the problem comes into. I should have probably not throwing the second Bubble Beam, because I'm going to survive the Flash Cannon, right? So that's a slight misplay by me. I do get off this Bubble Beam, but the issue is I need to throw it before the Mew threw the Ice Beam. I don't know. It would have been a tough matchup either way. But yeah, that Surf Period, especially that first debuff, definitely made things a little bit tough. Definitely a tough lead, but you can't really swap in too much because Mantine doesn't want to see that bulky grass either. All right, Lickitung safe swap. This is something I really love to see because they have no play against a Bastiodon. You just tank all the Power Whips. Licky would be different because they actually learns Earthquake, but Lickitung only knows Power Whip and is only going to do neutral, non-staff from a bulky Pokemon. It's not going to do too much. Yeah, you just smack down all the way. The thing is, you don't want to give this Deoxys defense too much farm, so that's why I'm charging way past the amount I need to take out the Lickitung. So actually, I think I'm just going to farm down here. I'm going to let this move go. It cuts it pretty close at times. They actually go for a body slam bait, but you just have to kind of trust in the bulk of Bastiodon. Obviously, mine is XL'd, so if yours is not XL, maybe you might want to throw one of the Stone Edges a little bit earlier. It's not a big deal if you get the Stone Edge off on the Deoxys defense or not. Honestly, you have a great matchup in the back anyway. And yeah, it's not gonna be a big deal. All right, comes in with Mana Buzz though. This is actually gonna be a little bit tough. And they actually catch the Foul Play, so a really good call by my opponent right there. And then I go straight for the Bubble Beam. I don't expect them to shield this. Yeah, they don't shield. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shield all these moves on my own though, because obviously the Foul Plays hurt more early on. I should have done the second one right away as well to avoid some additional fast move damage, but it's all good. They're actually running Air Slash. I don't know why. Maybe just as another check to fighters. Yeah, Snarl would definitely be better for energy generation, and obviously for against like Bastiodons as well too, and Registeels. I'm actually not too sure why they're running the Air Slash, but anyway, I guess they have another option for fighting counters, and then I'm going to bring in my Sableye. At this point, the Deoxys defense is debuffed, so I could tank these Rock Slides no problem. So I'm just going to farm it down actually, so the Bubble Beam was actually quite crucial. Force Team, you definitely had to understand like when's the best time to kind of hold on to your energy or when to like throw a move and then swap, because that could really be crucial. All right, and then my opponent does shield the Foul Play. They're probably gonna shield another Foul Play because they're so low on health, and then we're actually close to getting timed out too. So it actually doesn't want to even matter at this point. I still have a shield, so that would have been GG's either way. All right, let's see here. We're going into Ninetales. All right, so this is definitely a tough lead. So I go straight into the swap into my Mantine, and I really want to debuff this just to do some chip damage. The fact that they're staying in here is a little interesting. So they do throw a move. What I should recognize is that they're probably going for a slight chip damage before they come in because they don't have a hard check to Mantine, and that's looks like exactly what they're doing right here. So maybe it wasn't a bad idea for me to maybe it was a bad idea for me to not shield that Weather Ball, because obviously these Weather Balls are going to hurt way less than the Ninetales Weather Ball, right? Yeah, so this is just kind of a slug match. I apologize, there's some sound here. I gotta scoop some food into my cats before they bite off all my wires. All right, but yeah, anyway, this is pretty slow match. The concerning part here is what I realized is that they probably have another steel check in the back. Anyone that leads alone Ninetales is probably gonna have 2 reliable steel counters in the back, which means that I'm actually in a really bad spot because I don't have switch advantage, and I'm really chipped away at this Sableye. Yeah, and so as you can expect, here comes the hard counter. So this is pretty much a solid check to this team. I'm trying to see if there was a win con there. Mantine, potentially, if I shielded the Weather Ball, I don't know. Because obviously that Politoed didn't actually have Blizzard, which makes it, it gives it a little bit more play. But the issue is the Charm damage actually chipped away the Mantine quite a bit. And I would have been down shield, so I don't know if I could have overcame that negative matchup. But, you know, sometimes that's just what happens. And then, yeah, at this point, there's really not much play here. I could throw, like, I need to throw, yeah, way too many moves. And they have both shields still up. All right, so Bastion lead. Bastion lead is kind of an interesting one. If they're running Bastion double Razor Leaf in the back, it's almost not a big deal to let the Sableye go. But the issue is if they have a fighter in the back or something like a Registeel, like they probably won't have a Registeel, but it's possible they might have a fighter in the back. You kind of want the Sableye for that, like a Menasham. So I swap in my Mantine here as aggressive swap to start like chipping away at this Bastiodon. Mantine doesn't actually beat Bastion in most situations. And I do let this move go. Maybe I should have shielded this because this does a lot of damage. And here comes a Razor Leafer. Not a Shadow Victory Bell, surprisingly. Kind of weird. In my opinion, if you're going to run Shadow, if you're going to run Victory Bell, you might as well run the Shadow. It's less farm. You give opponents in bad matchups, and you do more damage. They go for the Acid Spray. But that's fine. I'm going to go for the Flamethrower here. And they do shield it. They're probably going to go for another move here. And I believe I shield this one. Yeah, I want to preserve a little health on this Bastiodon here. And I go in with my Sableye. And so at this point, I'm kind of in a bad spot if they have another Razor Leafer. And it's actually not a Razor Leafer, it's an Air Slasher, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Tropius beats Sableye anyway, especially with the shield advantage. And they actually shield too, which is a little bit unfortunate for me. But yeah, luckily we CMP there, but the issue is their Bastiodon still has a lot more health, and I have to throw a move here before they get to a Razor Leaf. So that's going to be GG's on that one. Tropius is definitely a little bit of an issue in the back end. Shadow Victory Bell, not so much as you saw from a previous matchup against Shadow Victory Bell with Mantine, but yeah, it was actually I guess fairly close. We'll see another Bastiodon lead later, and it's just weird because I don't know what people bring like different things with Bastiodon leads in remix cups, so it's kind of hard to predict. It's very unlikely it'll ever be double Charmer because the whole line would just lose to Registeel, but it could be double Fighters. It could be yeah, it could be a bunch of random things. All right, so again, this is a really solid matchup. Have the Lickitung just chip away at the Bastiodon, and you just farm up all this energy on the Lickitung. The bad news about Bastiodon is you can't stack up 2 Flamethrowers or 2 Stone Edges because they're both over 50 energy per move. So you can only get a little bit close to like 1 in like 1.8 or something, you know, of that move, which is not a big deal. All right, so I'm going to throw that move right there. I don't know why that specific Lickitung matchup, it looked a lot closer. Maybe it's because they didn't go for the Body Slam bait like the previous one. But my opponent actually shields here. Very interesting. So I don't really want to match a shield here yet, just because Ice Punch won't be too bad. But it is quite curious why they shielded that first one and staying in. So that makes me think that they're quite weak to Sableye in the back as well, which makes me think that maybe they have a Jellicent. I don't know. Gosh, I don't know why my cats keep biting the wires. They're fed. Sorry. Anyway, so they go another Ice Punch. I'm going to charge up to a Return, which is actually kind of risky. I probably should have just left that Foul Play because whatever's weak to this in the back is probably going to be weak to Dark, not normal, right? Nothing's really weak to normal actually. But all right, so it's a Cresselia. This makes a lot of sense now. And I'm going to go for debuffs here. I guess they were trying to debuff me as well. I don't actually know why they went Moonblast over Grass Knot. But yeah, so my play here is chip down this Cresselia. And because I swap first, I can bring my Sableye in early. And as you can see, my Switch Hammer's just up. I'm going to bring it in and snipe it down with this Foul Play. This is going to be huge because now I can take out the Cresselia and I still have the Mantine for the Metacham, and we simultaneously KO there, which is nice. All right, another Bastiodon lead, right? So let's see what they have in the back here. Could be a little bit different. So I'm going to say in here, Sableye can win with a shield advantage, but the thing is, you need shields for sure. Yeah, it's just so interesting matchup because, you know, you have to figure out like what's the best scenario. Do you swap out or not? And they actually swapped out instead, which is pretty good because now I can force them to shield, and I go for 2 Foul Plays here, and this will really severely chip them down. They actually double shield. This is perfect. So now I come with my Bastiodon. This is really good because for me, this Bastiodon is now in a huge advantage. With 0 shields, I could take a couple Foul Plays, no big deal. So I'm gonna actually no, I go straight for the Stone Edge. I guess why not? Best case scenario, I mean worst case scenario, they bring in, I don't know, a Fighter or something, but not have good checks from the back, and then best case scenario, bring in their Bastiodon. The Mirror is just totally fine with me. I have a shield advantage, and I'm trying to think what they might be so weak to in the back. But honestly, Mantine has, between Mantine and Sableye, they both have decent coverage against things that Bastion's good against. So I should come in with Mantine right here to start like really farming down this Bastiodon. I do end up shielding this Stone Edge because that's going to do a lot of damage. And then I can't tell if they actually swapped in or yeah, okay, so they didn't swap out. That's good. Ends up being a Mew. Okay, so this is fine. I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. It's going to do the most amount of damage here. I assume if they go wild charge, it's not a big deal because they'll debuff themselves and then they'll put themselves in a bad spot, right? So, and they're okay with tanking the Ice Beam because they need to have multiple charge moves ready for my backline. So I'm trying to decide what to come in with here, either Bastiodon or Sableye. I decided to go Sableye because they're going to have to throw a move right away. They don't want to take any of the Shadow Claw damage. And then here, I'm hoping that I can just smack down this Mew before it gets to 2 Surfs. I know I survived 1 Surf at this range, especially after the... No, I didn't debuff this Mew. I just survived. Oh, they actually go Wild Charge there. But yeah, end up surviving it, and GG's. Yeah, again, Bastiodon leads, they're kind of hard to predict in Remix Cup, to be honest. All right, Registeel lead. So we get to see kind of how this plays out. Again, like I said, Sableye does beat Registeel, but you do need a shield. So I'm going to shield this first one, and the beauty of Lock-On is it does pretty much no damage in the process, so as long as you're shielding, you're fine. All right, and then they come with the Pelipper. Again, Pelipper is solid against Registeel and great against G-Fizz, but Bastiodon is able to tank these Weather Balls, and you just go straight smackdown and then build a Flamethrower, right? So you can force a shield from your opponent later. It's really the ideal situation for Bastiodon. Whittle down as much as possible while still tanking everything, not spending any shields, and then finishing with the energy to have something to throw at what comes in next. All right, so we're just getting ready to see what comes in. It ends up being the Registeel, which is fine. I could probably land both Flamethrowers if they shield. They actually don't shield, but they go in with their own Sableye. So this is okay. So I'm going to shield that. I don't know why. It felt like that return came out real quick. I don't know. Maybe it was strange actually. But I was going to shield it anyway. But if it was going to be a foul play, but I guess returns much better because they expended way too much. I need to double check that. Was that right? How did they get to return that quickly? I don't know. That was a little funky, to be honest. All right, but anyway, they come in with their Registeel here. I'm gonna just finish it off with this Bubble Beam, and then probably go for another Bubble Beam against this Sableye. They throw their move right away. That's fine. My Sableye has enough to tank a foul play from them. Oh, actually, I don't know if they undercharge that, or it's just Mantine's very bulky. Mantine is quite bulky, but I'm gonna finish it off with my Sableye. I think I should double check that. I'm curious. How did they get to that return so quickly? I mean, it's not a big deal because I end up with still winning it, but let's see. All right, let's see here. Bastiodon. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right. Anyway, we will resume. I guess maybe just in the heat moment, I lost track. All right, and then we'll wrap up this one. So again, Registeel leads, very solid. You definitely want to take it out because it's probably their main check to Bastiodon in the back. It's possible they have another fighter. If they're running Steel with a fighter in the back, that's very possible to check the Charmers. All right, so another Steel, just to see kind of, another Registeel, just to see kind of how it plays out. All right, again, you're going to shield the first Flash Cannon, and then start throwing moves. I like to charge a little bit past the foul play just in case they do like go for a swap or something. You could chip away at it later because again, you have the Mantine. So even if they swap in something that's also kind of weak to Sableye or neutral, it's not a big deal. I actually go for swap right here. I didn't actually intend to catch this, but catching this was perfect actually in my opinion. And then I go for a Bubble Beam here. I probably should have just gone for the Ice Beam. I don't know. They're going to go for Hurricane either way. So I don't know, that's kind of a weird play by me, I guess. Maybe I just go straight Ice Beam. That way I could potentially force a shield and maintain switch. But this is not a big deal because Registeel is very low. So even if they could bring it, they win switch, their Registeel has no play against the backline, so it's all good. I'm just gonna farm some energy here. Maybe the Bubble Beam was fine here because I get a little bit of energy and these are debuffed Weather Balls. All right, so they actually swap out to their Sableye. So this makes things a little bit interesting. Sableye, as I said before, will beat Bastiodon with the shield advantage, so they definitely have to shield that one, but I'm going to let these foul plays go because I want to save my shield from my Sableye. As you can see, my Sableye in the back still has a decent amount of health and it has a little bit of energy to my knowledge. So I'm going to let this move go again and then go for another Stone Edge and hopefully force their last shield. Okay, so they actually get their move off with CMP, I think. I'm just praying that we CMP and it wasn't like something they could swap on, and so I do get to Stone Edge. I think their switch timer's not even up yet. But now I'm going to come in with my Sableye and then go straight for the foul play. I don't know if my opponent lost track of my energy or they just couldn't swap out in time, but this puts me in a very good spot, and then now they try to I guess, like, I don't know, catch something, but there wasn't much play after that. Okay, Altaria. Go straight Mantine. You have Ice Beam, which is very solid. And then here's what I said. All right, so there are a lot of electrics in this meta, but I have seen a total of 2. I saw Alolan Graveler in the lead, which was the easier matchup because I was able to match up my counters pretty well. And then this one. Very rare, at least for in my elo range today. I did my yesterday sets and today's sets, most of them. So I did about like maybe 8 or 9 sets, and this is the second electric I've ever seen. So this is actually really rough though. I think they undercharged a lot there, but the thing is, I'm gonna debuff this and just farm it down with Sableye, or do as much farming as I can. Obviously, Hydro Pump after being 4 times debuff is still gonna kind of hurt, but they make a critical error here. They swap in their Altaria, so I don't know what they have in the back, but this gives me a lot of hope because now I'm in a very solid position. You know, and obviously they didn't know I had a Bastiodon back, right? So it's not really like, I mean, it's a misplay, but you know, they didn't know it was gonna be this bad, right? I guess like potentially if I had like a Charmer in the back, maybe they have Registeel or something to kind of check it. But so I am going to shield, and they ended up throwing a Thunderbolt, which I guess makes sense because we have 2 shields up, but I have all this energy, so I have to pretty much shield. They shield again, and then here comes the Registeel. So here comes the Registeel. It makes sense because if I had a Charmer in the back, no big deal because the Registeel can match up against it. But again, Sableye, a much better matchup against Registeel. As you can see here, it's going to do quite well, and then I'm gonna just let this move go. I'm not too worried because again, you can survive the move, and then the ensuing lock-ons won't do much. And then I am going to win CMP against this Lantern, so that's why I'm actually totally fine with farming down and just throw the foul play. I probably won't get to another move, but we'll see. And then I actually do get to another move. That's huge. Able to drop the foul play. And you can see I was trying to switch to Bastiodon, but that was enough to take care of the match. So yeah, so that's pretty much the team. Overall today, I think I went, out of my 8 or 9 sets, I went negative maybe twice, and I went positive in all the other ones. 3 2s, 4 1s, I think 1 5-0 as well. So yeah, so feel free to give the team a shot. I know there's kind of like a plethora of stuff in the back. Double Charm, I didn't include any footage of that, but yeah, that's an interesting one. So if they're running Obstagoon Double Charm, you're kind of in a tricky spot because you have to stay in with Sableye. But if they're running something else with Double Charm, Bastiodon obviously is the first counter swap, and then afterward you just keep debuffing with Bubble Beams. That's pretty much the only play against Charms, especially by then because they probably still have shields up. And then yeah, against most Charmers you could usually do okay. Against Whimsicott you might be in trouble, but I've only seen one of those today. Anyway, best of luck. I will post a league guide for this in a bit later today, but yeah, I just want to get this footage out as soon as possible.